behind the scenes. It's impressive and important, isn't it?
Welcome, my friends. Welcome to Here's What We Know with our most popular guest returning because we just figured, well, we should do this together in 10 minutes. And the funny thing about it is for you folks, we're doing a behind the scene thing. So I've got a camera. You see this camera set up behind me? It's because
Yes.
they were like, hey, you should let everybody see what it's really like when you're doing this stuff. And I'm like, okay, you want to know the truth about what it's really like? So Julie had to leave a little while ago because she needed to like get cleaned up.
Exactly.
And
This is what I need to tell you, my boy. I really hate having to worry about how I look.
I heard you walk into your studio because I'm listening, right? And she's like, I hate having to be a public
I
people see
did.
me.
I just complained to my husband. He went, "Sorry."
Here's where life is unfair. I'm dressed like this.
Right? See, and that's the thing. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, "No one cares." Yes, they do about the way the women look. No one cares how the guys look. But
No, I absolutely agree with you. I
okay.
agree with you. I sit back and I tell my wife and the boys because I've got teenage boys now, and it's like, listen, mom wants us to get there early because that's our thing. We laugh at our house. We have to be there at 10 o'clock. Mom wants to leave at about a quarter after 7. That's when mom wants to leave.
Exactly.
But I'm like, but you don't understand everything that goes into mom. So if
Oh,
she wants to leave at 7:15, she's waking up at 2:08, right? Because it
exactly.
takes all of that. And meanwhile, this, and I do
Right?
realize it. And listen, there is nobody more horrified. And I'm kind of hoping that she's not watching right now. I think she's in a meeting. I can hear her upstairs. But nobody's more horrified than when I dress like this,
Then your wife.
than her. And I'm like, and I'll share you want a little inside story. There is nothing in this world that my wife hates more than me in a knit hat.
Okay, so she is going to see this at some point, and she is going to just shake her head.
Listen, you
Here's
know
the
what I learned years ago? It's easier to ask for an apology than permission.
okay, here's the thing about his wife. His wife is so good at all the social things, right? I mean, she's
She's the
really
most grace-filled
she
person I've ever met in
is,
my life.
and she knows what to do. I can't tell you the number of times I have texted her and said, "Hey, I'm going to a this or that. What's appropriate? What do I bring? How do I dress? What?" And she knows, and she's amazing at it. And she married you. I I love you with all of my heart, but the irony is just so high. I can't even begin. So,
Listen, I've said this before that there's a reason God put me in this family, right? I was literally having this conversation with my 12-year-old this morning. And I'm like, there's because I think everybody, all of us bring something to it. And I think I add is it really that important? Oh, that's what I add,
yeah,
right?
yes, and that's what we joke about it, but that's what you're good for, is for her, is you calm her down and make her understand, look, not everything is the hill you want to die on. And so that, in that respect, you guys are perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
perfect.
she absolutely gets me going. Hey, how about you put a little more effort into this?
Yeah.
I had the conversation with again one of my sons yesterday, and I said, if we're talking about he's trying to learn Spanish, and I reminded him that his mother majored in Spanish, and he's like, she did, and I'm like, and she goes, I told you that, and I said, sweetheart, he's at that stage where he only listens when he has to, right?
Exactly.
That's what he does. He listens when he has to. Now he's got that information, and trust me, he'll be muy bueno
Yeah.
that you're, you know, and,
Muy dinero. You remember that? You remember that on WKRP? When Herb goes, look, we're dating ourselves. People are going, WKRP. When Herb goes, I have muy dinero. And Jennifer goes, you just said very money.
listen. as we come up to how we're going to be in November on Friday. I was playing golf the other day, and there were these wild turkeys. And I was playing with these guys, and I looked around and I said, I swear on all that is holy, I thought turkeys could fly.
I'm telling you. I'm
The
telling you.
greatest line in the history of TV and our radio.
Ever. And WKRP was super accurate, except they never talked into the microphone. Okay, so a little behind the scenes. This is how we do radio right
I
here.
mean, you can tell
Because-
this is the way I do mine. See how close my thing is?
right.
I mean,
But
I'm always
I
this
don't
close.
have to do that when we're on camera, which is why I hate being on camera. One of the many reasons. But everything else about WKRP, everyone had a Herb Tarlick as a salesman. Every radio station had one.
And you had and it could have been male or female.
Oh yes.
The Herb Tarlick was the character who was male or female, and you needed him too.
Absolutely.
You needed that person who could sell ice to Eskimos.
100%. You had to have that person, but oh my word.
Because if you think about radio, we are selling air.
Yeah.
We're selling air is all we're selling. It's unlike when we do stuff like with this podcast, when I have my clients and we have partners and stuff, I give them a monthly report. This is how many people went and this, so it's a bit easier because we have what we call metrics now.
Right. Yeah.
But in radio, it's like, hey, tell them KRTY sent you.
Yeah.
And thankfully it worked, but yeah, you had all the stereotypes. The other thing I've always said that was never realistic, the morning guy and the night guy never hung out.
And I think on the show, they weren't going to have the night guy be so front and center, but Venus Flytrap was such a compelling character that they had to put him together with Johnny Fever. They really couldn't.
He was he added the cool, and it's Tim Flowers. Tim.
I don't name.
But he was the one that was cool, and there was nobody else in the building that was cool.
Right.
Even Johnny Fever, the morning guy. Yeah. And Johnny Fever was the stereotypical morning guy. Hi, Chris. How are you? He was the whole no. I mean, when we did shows, I rarely saw Tim Anthony, and Tim and I are trying to get. I'm trying to get him on this show because people always. I rarely saw him.
Yeah, I know. I was an afterthought for this, y'all, because he's like, oh, I forgot to reach out to Tim. Can you do it? Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean,
the
day that Tim and I were supposed to do it weeks ago, the internet died at my house. It was out for 2 days. Right. So
that's the worst.
And that's the best thing. The thing about we have two free excuses: the internet and traffic.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area.
That's true.
And if you go, hey, I had that meeting the other day, and I said, I'm on 87. I'll get there when I get there. Yeah. And the response was, okay.
Yeah, because everybody knows. Everybody knows it's a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend who was in San Francisco with her daughter last week, and she's like, I'm only here one day. You guys want to come up for lunch? And I'm like, oh, no. I can't. She goes, my meetings are over at 1:00. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't be there at 1. No. Exactly. And I said, I've got to pick my sons up from school. And she goes, how far away from you? I said, logistically, I'm an hour away from you.
Yeah.
Realistically, I'm 2 to 2.5 hours getting back.
Yeah.
So, and she was right there by the ballpark too. So she was in the weeds.
Yeah.
She wasn't in South San Francisco. She was right there where the poop maps take you. I mean, right there. So see, look, that's the problem with you and I is that we always go 10 minutes. And she asked, Julie does this. This is what I can't get over. I thought, hey, go on the live stream with me. And she goes, what are we going to talk about?
I know. We are the Seinfeld of radio programs.
We don't need anything to talk about. We could, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, how do you know, because we're in different places. Obviously, you can see we're in different places.
Yeah.
And how do you know what he's going to say? I mean, if you can't see him, how do you, I'm like, we have been doing this literally for 30 years. So yes, I know this man fairly well.
And
I
I've
don't
always
even
told
know him.
everybody, right? I'm like, I learned long ago not to do sight gags,
Yeah.
right? So I learned long ago. I would always put something up. Like a lot of times, the studios would be facing each other, and so I would put paper and cardboard boxes up because it's so easy to go, and
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. I
No.
was just trying to find a comedian for us to play next week, and I couldn't use them because they did so many facial things.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't, that doesn't translate to listing. So even when Julie was in studio, I always tell everybody, see where this camera is right here? That's where Julie sat.
Yeah, I did.
She sat right back here.
Right. I would sit kind of behind him and to the side of him so that we couldn't see each other.
So
So
the first time that we went into the studios, because she moved and went into the studio, and I was still in the studio. And I remember we went on the air at like 5, and my wife got up to listen, and we got off the air, and I said, "How'd it go?" And she goes, "It took you guys about 90 seconds."
yeah,
And I'm like, "Well,
figure it out.
because we've been doing it for 4,000 years."
Yeah, we really have.
So
You're the brother I never wanted.
yeah, I get it. So what are you going to do with all your makeup and cleanliness now?
I
Are you going to go do with
know.
it? You can't waste it. I mean, it's just your husband at home. You,
Oh
you got to do
wow.
something with it, right? I
I'm
mean, you're
going out. I'm making him take me out to lunch.
look. So I helped you.
Okay. All right.
I helped you. You were going to go. Okay. You were just telling. I have to tell you, her hometown where she's at. They had the worst restaurant in the world called Sweeto Burrito. Now, folks, and I know I'm running long, but stick with me. It was a food. It had Mexican food, but in every dish they had, they added sugar.
Sugar and cinnamon.
So if you ordered a taco, I mean like a beef, lettuce, tomato, cheese, sour cream taco, it had sugar and cinnamon in it.
Yeah, it was. And okay, but here's what so he came to visit me. He brought his family to visit me in my hometown in Idaho, and he said, "Oh, sweeto burrito. Oh, that must mean sweet, a burrito." No, that's not what it means. It's got sugar but guess what? It's closed. Nobody
Shocker.
ate it.
Wow. How did that not work? How did that not work? Because when I think carnitas burrito, I think cinnamon and sugar. That's what I think. But now, what did you say replaced it?
It's going to be Cluckers. I don't know. Apparently, it's a national chain. I don't know what that is, but apparently, it's a national chain. So it's going to be a chicken thing.
Cluckers.
Cluckers. Yeah.
Is that thing? Was that the guy who's on the new guy on Shark Tank?
I don't know. I don't watch Shark Tank, so I don't know.
Well, I don't either, but I know that he started this thing. It was a school project in college, and he got an F on it because he said, "Well, I'm just going to do this chicken. I'm going to do it really well, and we're not going to do a lot of different things. It's just going to be chicken. It's going to be like In-N-Out for chicken." And the guy that I think he flunked it, and the guy decided to see if he could make a go of it, and now he's a gazillionaire.
Oh, wow.
And he likes to remind his professor of that all the time.
All the time.
So as one would. All right, well, we'll go enhance the streets of Idaho Falls with your beauty now that I helped with, and
beauty. Yeah.
and I'll continue to look like this. This is
Heather, I'm sorry.
Look, this is as good as I will look all day. I'm getting ready to go for a run here in a little bit. So I'm going to look a lot worse, right? So
there you go.
Enjoy this eye candy. Who wouldn't like this jelly?
Telling you.
All right, my dear. We'll be back. We still do the morning show Monday through Friday from 5:30 to 9 on krty.com.
Yeah. So tune in.
Because we talk about you.
Yes, exactly.